Ever parachute naked into a volcano? Alright, just so you guys know, 1, that is an actual line from this movie, and 2, it took me about 8 attempts saying it into the camera until I was able to do it without laughing. Freefall. So Freefall is about this woman played by Pamela Gidley, who is a nature photographer and currently working for her boyfriend who runs a nature-oriented magazine, kind of like National Geographic. Her boyfriend is played by Jeff Fahey, who, and if you are a big fan of B-movies, you probably know who that is. Otherwise, you probably don't. But for those of you who don't, I guess his biggest thing, the thing that brought him the most fandom, was that he was the villain in the 1992 film The Lawnmower Man. So Pamela Gidley's character, Kate, is sent off to Africa to get some pictures for this magazine of a supposedly extinct falcon. However, once in Africa, I use the quotations because I seriously doubt that's where they actually filmed this, Kate ends up meeting a self-described high man, played by Eric Roberts. This high man's name is Grant Orion. I really gotta make a note of this. This movie has some of the best character names I've ever heard. Grant Orion, Kate Mazur, Dex Dellum, Wayne Campbell, Garth Algar. Okay, so those last two are obviously fake. Anyway, this high man, Grant, says, I can show you where this falcon actually is, and he helps her take pictures, and he kind of seduces her. They have a nice steamy sex scene about 20 minutes into the movie, if you haven't fallen asleep by then. Problem is, like I said earlier, this girl's boyfriend runs the magazine that she works for, and actually isn't even her boyfriend. He's really her fiancé. And would it really be spoiling anything if I told you that infidelity was about to become the least of this girl's worries? Of course not. Pretty soon after she sleeps with Eric Roberts, he disappears, and now she's got Interpol agents on her ass, claiming that she's got some top secret material stashed somewhere on her person or in her luggage. This becomes a big problem, because now even her boyfriend back in the United States may not even be trustworthy. So the rest of the movie is basically Kate strung along for this action thriller. I know I just called the movie an action thriller, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. The trailers for this are pretty misleading. The real action parts of the movie don't really kick in until about an hour into the film. This really is more of a spy mystery up until that point. The movie does have a whole lot of high points, though, no pun intended. For example, let's face it, it never gets boring watching people fall from tall heights in movies. There's a lot of that in this. Also, the score done by Lee Holdridge is really good. I think this is actually one of the most underrated movie scores of the 90s. Since this is kind of like a spy mystery film, I don't want to tell you too much more than I already have, since I've basically already just spoiled the first act of the film. But I will say that there are some twists in this film. Obviously there are some twists, and some of them work and some of them don't. There is one toward the end where you find out that one of the characters has been kind of one of the bad guys the whole time, and without telling you any more than that, you'll see it coming right away. Real early on. I think a 10-year-old would see this twist coming. So whether you can say that it works or not, that being said, all three performers in this film, Eric Roberts, Pamela Gidley, and Jeff Fahey, do a really good job. There's never a point in this movie where I go, wow, that actor just sucks. The three leads do a great job at kind of selling the more preposterous elements of this movie. Also, the stunt work in this is amazing. After a while, there are a couple of times where you'll look at a shot and be like, wow, that's stock footage, or they used that exact same shot earlier in the movie. But it really does take watching the movie a couple of times, I think, before you start being that adept at spotting that. I would say that the best way to describe this movie to someone in terms of tone and in terms of what they can expect from it is that it basically plays out just like a James Bond movie or any other number of spy movies, but the main difference is Freefall is basically you're watching it from the woman's perspective. Most movies like this, you have, here's your action hero, here's your villain, here's your conspiracy, here's the stunts, here's the action, here's the romance, here's the love scenes, here's the violent scenes. But in this movie, you're getting it from the woman's perspective. So you don't know what's going on a lot of the time. I think that's actually a smart move. I don't know too many spy movies or action movies that do that. the writers of the first Mission Impossible film and the writers of Skyfall actually kind of ripped this movie off in a pretty big way. If you haven't seen the film, I'm not going to explain that to you, but if you have seen the film, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Freefall gets 3 out of 4 stars. If you can make it through the Lifetime movie-esque first 20 minutes of this movie, you are home free and in for a really fun, cheesy ride. So that's my review of Freefall. I hope you enjoyed it, seeing as how, actually, now that I think of it, this is the first non-horror film that I've reviewed on this page so far. Stay tuned, as the next movie I'll be reviewing is Phantom of the Opera. That's Robert Englund, not Andrew Lloyd Webber. Also, keep an eye out for my upcoming blog about the use of gore in slasher films. I've been working on that on and off, and now I'm giving it maybe another couple of days to a week before I have that posted for you guys. And, of course, and as always, if there is a horror, action, crime, or any other film of that sort that you think doesn't get talked about enough or that not a lot of people know about and you want to hear my opinion on it, please let me know in the comments section below and I'll see what I can do about watching it and getting a review up for you. Have a good one, guys, and as always, thank you for watching Priceless B Movies.